You're live.
I'm live.
We're live.
We are live.
Are we?
Good afternoon, everybody. Can anyone see us? Have I just said that?
To me.
Good afternoon, Teresa. Hello, everybody.
You can't see us.
It comes with a delay for the millionth time, my little chicken pie. See? Look at us. You need to come closer. Come closer.
Hello, everyone. So we've got Lewis and Tony. Hello.
We need to make sure that someone's listening first.
Yes, can you hear us, by the way?
Can anyone see us?
Silence.
Crickets.
It is quite delayed, though.
It is very delayed, but buffered. Hey, I write hey. See?
Looks good, sounds good. Okay.
Bloody hell, sat here scratching my ass. So, good afternoon from us. It's 5 p.m, 5 to 5 in Spain.
Yeah.
And welcome back, everybody. It is season 4, officially season 4.
Yes.
And as I said to you not 10 minutes ago, away from the cameras, I am so glad we live on a boat.
Yeah, it's really nice to be back, actually. I don't think you realise until you're back how much you love it and how much you miss it. Like when you're on land, when you're in a house, your parents' house or your in-laws' house or someone else's house, then you're kind of just getting on with it and enjoying the lengthy showers and the baths and, kind of unlimited electricity and all that kind of stuff. But when you come back onto the boat, it's really lovely.
It is. It feels like it's our home.
Yes.
But there's something nice about the boat, about being on a boat.
Yes.
Despite the fact we're out the water.
Yeah, we are out the water. And that's the problem, that whenever we come back to the boat after a lengthy time away, we're always out of the water because we always store the boat in a boatyard. But nice to come back to the boat when it was in the water.
Well, yeah, but we do that so that we don't come back to the boat and find it under the water.
Exactly. Okay. Hey.
I pray for you.
Okay, so, we've got Lewis and Tony watching. Hello, gentlemen. Do we have anyone else just quietly sitting? How many people do we have watching this, babe? You can see.
Apparently we have 5.
5, right. We have 5 people watching this, so I want 3 remaining people to
make themselves known.
Exactly.
So anyway, listen. Firstly, welcome patrons. The reason we do these little soirees, or is it an amu? Yes, is so that our patrons get a chance to ask the questions without the kind of, the unfiltered shambles that is the next event. So, there's a lot of questions, and there's a lot we can probably divulge a lot more. I'll sit further apart from you. We can divulge more things because this is a kind of more
a more intimate.
It is more intimate. I mean, despite the fact we're sat here like a couple of cam girls doing our thing. Fly. It gives us a chance to.
Did you want to close that hatch?
No, not
Are
really.
flies going to come in?
No flies are going to come
in.
But don't feel free to completely interrupt my stream.
Sorry.
Just because you decide to worry about a fly. So if you have questions that you think, okay, what are they up to? What are they up to?
Or
let
questions
us know.
that you've wanted to ask us, or anything really you want to chat about. As I said, just a little hello would, it's always nice to see.
We're a little bit early anyway. We wanted to start at 3
minutes. Of minutes
and
early.
that's my fault. I wanted to start early because YouTube have changed their front end again and I couldn't work out how to get this stuff sorted out.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be late, so it'd always be early. Anyway, let's just run through. So this is literally the first weekend for us of season 4. We flew back to Ruby Rose on Friday from London. We took some time out with family. We kind of went around the world and bummed around a little bit, and the time flew past. It really did. I said to you when we were on the plane, I can't believe we've been gone for 4 months.
I know.
That's pretty nuts, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I don't know whether we've done a live stream in those 4 months.
We did one for Christmas, didn't we? We did one in Australia.
Did we?
Yes.
Did we do a live stream?
Yes.
Okay, well then that's at least 2 months ago.
Yeah, we did one for Christmas. I'm sure we did.
And hello, Abraham, yes. You're always just... Oh, there's a fly.
Enough with the fly.
It's floating around in front of me.
So yeah, Come on. Continue.
I was just going to say hello to Abraham because he always enjoys just sitting back and watching
He's a
the
silent,
events
a
unfold.
silent witness. A
Yes.
silent witness.
Yes, which is
So what have we
very
done?
fine.
So let's just run through. So obviously you are now watching our exploits with Nikki and Jason. Hopefully,
Yes.
that was probably more fun than it actually even looked on camera. They are. Nikki,
We had to edit out like the most fun bits because they were a
Yeah.
little bit like
too much.
inappropriate for film.
But we've watched Nikki and Jason for a few years now, and all I would say is that a couple of things. Firstly, they are far more hysterical in person than they are on camera.
Yeah.
Not that they're not hysterical on camera; they are really funny, but they are just an absolute blast. And I think they have, because they look. What happens is they've come from a professional filmmaking and photography background into recreational filmmaking for YouTube. We have come from sitting in a pub drinking beer and kind of dragged ourselves up by the bootstraps into kind of filmmaking, and we're meeting somewhere in the middle, although the gulf between us and them is huge
Considerable.
in every capacity.
Yeah.
They have subscriber numbers, which is unimportant, but their professionalism is way above us. But as such, they still have an air of professionalism that don't have.
Yeah.
So when the cameras are off, they really they goof around far more. And Nikki said to us, she goes, "I wish." Actually, I think it was Jason said. Jason wishes he could, act up more on camera.
Yeah.
But they have a reputation, so they that is their very polished and beautiful image.
Yes.
And it was an absolute privilege to go and see them. But so
They, in theory, could be watching us right now, but they're not because they're in the Tuamotus. But they very kindly became our patrons after we said our goodbyes, so that was very generous of them. It occurred to me just now as we were talking about them that they might actually be watching this. But no, I think they're in the Tuamotus.
okay, so hang on, I'm going to put my spectacles on and I'm going to answer Tony's question. Good. So Tony, good Tony. Nothing about. I feel like Professor McGonagall.
Yes. Yeah.
Hang on a minute, Potter. Let's have a wee look. Hey, Tony. Tony's got a wee question to add.
McGonagall wasn't Scottish.
Yes, she was.
Oh yeah, no, she might have been.
Crying.
Okay, anyway. Hello, Fred.
Sorry about this. So Tony asks, has hanging out with the winds influenced our decision of future boat ownership anymore? Yes. And travels. So the answer is yes and yes. Now, we have all but decided that our next boat is going to be a catamaran.
Yes, I think that I won't go so far as to say that the best boat for the type of sailing that we want to do is a catamaran. We want to cross the Pacific, definitely. We want to cruise the Pacific Islands. We want to do, hopefully, Asia, Southeast Asia, the Indian Ocean. Essentially, we'd love to circumnavigate. Are we frozen? No. And I'm, not saying at all that a catamaran is the best option for that type of sailing. However, I think for me personally, Nick can speak for himself, I just want to try something different. I just want to experience a different type of
Trying something different is going to a Mongolian barbecue for dinner. I mean, Christ, not spending a lot of money on a bloody catamaran. No,
I want to try a different way of living this lifestyle that we're living. And catamarans, stop tapping your chin as if you're...
Really? Tell me.
You need a little pipe.
I had one when I was a student.
I bet you did. And yeah, catamaran living offers something completely different to a monohull. Well, very different, not completely different. Obviously, there's a lot of crossover. But I'm really keen to try it out.
I think...
It's like, I don't know, I like change. Nick is a little bit more kind of set in his ways. I like change. Like, I grew up with my mother. She and my father moved house probably on average, every 3 to 5 years when I was growing up, just because they felt like moving house.
My mother, however, still has herbs that she had in a jar from 1972.
Exactly.
Okay, well, okay. So, do you know what? I'm going to say something profound. What is going to be interesting is not the next boat, but the boat after that.
Yes, because we would have tried out a catamaran.
There you go.
We'll probably want like a 60-foot monohull. Oh, We could get like an aluminium kind of expedition boat, like.
I was thinking of a 70-foot Nordhaven and just going up and down the ICW, tooting the horn. And
No, I want like a pilot house, like kind of aluminium or steel boat that we can do like high latitude stuff with.
We have some more. We have John. Hello. John Davies. Hello from Tampa, Florida. Can't wait to go over to Florida.
And
Alan Davies.
Yes.
Alan Davis or Davies? Davis. I'm going to say Davis from snowy Colorado. Alan Davis, Colorado is someplace we are probably going to try and get to next year.
Well, we don't know. We were saying that we want to, because we've just come back from a ski trip, and yes, our lives we are ridiculously lucky with all the fun things we get to do. But yeah, we just came back from skiing, and it was fantabulous. But yeah, we're saying next year we might
go to Colorado.
Go further afield to go skiing.
Let us know and we'll come and buy you a beer somewhere. I think Colorado's a bit bigger than Spain, though. Colorado's a big old state, isn't it?
Bigger than Spain? Why are we talking about Spain?
I don't know, Colorado. I mean, he may not be in the locality. We'll find you.
Oh, right.
We'll find you. Anyway, so yeah, back to the question. We seem to have diverged. See? I used divulge and diverge in the same. And Wade, hello from Georgia. So it's almost definitely going to be a cat. The time frame for this, we don't know. Literally, we have no idea. And the reason for this is as follows. Number one, we still haven't done our research. We still don't know what we want. We literally ask these random, well, if we won the lottery and had money to burn, what would we buy? We still don't know. So if even our finances weren't an objective, we would...
Not an objective.
Jeez, what's wrong with me today? Just using
obstacle.
An obstacle. Yeah.
You're having a stroke.
Yes. So.
Nick's shutting down.
I just need to reboot. Bloody Wally. Anyway, so even if we still don't know what we want, and hence there is a lot of interest in this. Not, I think, because. People want to watch what we're doing, but I think people actually have they want to make the same decision process. So I think for us, as we go through this season, we are going to go to the boat shows in Grand Mont in France for the weekend and do proper comparative reviews, not just sit drinking beer.
Which is our default position, obviously. But yes, the Grand Mont is the multi-hull boat show. I think it's the only, it's definitely the biggest specialised multi-hull boat show in the world that I'm aware of. And it's based in Grand Mont on the French Riviera. Would you call that the Riviera?
Yeah, I think we could call it a Riviera.
And so that's at the end of April. So we will definitely be there. If any of you happen to be there as well, then obviously we will definitely catch up. And that will be our first opportunity to see a lot of catamarans all in one place, because we, of course, have had the opportunity to look at production catamarans because they tend to be at all the boat shows, Lagoon, Fontaine Pajot, Leopard, Gitana, and all the rest, Naughty Tech. We've been on these types of boats quite a bit before, and we want to revisit those boats, but we also want to look at, some of the kind of less well-known boats.
Right. I think, look, it has to be right for us. Just a quick, got things. Hello, Tom and Mary. There you go, from Ireland. So we...
You're going to bust out your Irish...
No, I can't.
Irish accent.
It's really offensive, isn't it?
Your Father Ted impersonation.
Kind of a Father Ted impersonation. If they were Chinese, I wouldn't put a Chinese accent with it.
Actually, it's your McDougal.
Not McDougal, Father Dougal. Not McDougal.
I get confused.
Anyway, yes, we... What are you laughing about now? Father McDougal. Doesn't he make flour?
Oh, yeah.
Please try and be professional.
Don't get the giggles.
Try and be slightly professional in these things. I don't want to have to carry you again through another shambolic experience.
Okay, sorry, carry on.
Anyway, so it's almost definitely going to be catamaran. We don't know what. We're going to do some research. We are going to video this extensively. And we'll come to a decision. The other thing is, at some point, I am not going to be in the position where we have two boats. So I'm not going to go, right, we're going to buy another boat. This boat needs to sell, and it needs to sell at the right price because we need to release the equity in this. I am not doing the marine mortgage thing, or we are not doing the marine mortgage thing on bridging loans. It's too stressful. So we will have to sell this boat in good time. And these are not they're quite niche, these boats. It's not like, you know, buying a mass, you know,
like the southerly, you mean?
Yeah, the southerly.
Yes.
So basically, it will take probably 6 to 9 months to sell this boat, at the very least.
Yeah.
So, you know, we need to find a time to kind of put it up on the market. I think what we will do is put it up on the market in anticipation of maybe it taking 9 months to sell. But so I think probably by the end of this season, we will look to, so we're now in March. By the time we finish in October, we will look to have this up on the market and move on to another boat.
Yes. So this year we are doing a combination of obviously cruising, but also kind of upping up our research on our next boat.
Yeah, it's a natural process, and we were talking about this yesterday. I think even YouTube aside, you know, because you have to kind of not be led by the nose a little bit. I think we've learned over 2 years. You have to do the things that you want to do, and I think that even if we didn't have the YouTube channel, we would still be looking at doing this. Anyway, this would be a natural thing for us to do. And the reasons are multiple. Firstly, I am not sure that the Mediterranean sailing is going to be everything we want it to be. It's amazing that my parents live in the Mediterranean. We've spent a lot of time like in those areas. And I kind of hankering to get back to America, and I'm kind of wanting to get back to the Caribbean.
No, that's because it's always, you know, you always want what's not right in front of.
I know. So there you go. Anyway, Alan Davis asks a question. He says, "So I want to get a cat and start sailing, no experience. How do I get insurance? The chicken and egg issue." Alan, I don't know where you are based. However,
I think he's in Colorado.
Oh, of course, yes. Sorry.
Which is.
If this were in the UK, I don't know how. So the RYA is the British equivalent of the ASA, the American Sailing Association. I would basically go to an insurance company to just put the horse before the cart. Go to an insurance company and say, I want to do some sailing, and I want to buy a catamaran, and I want to keep the catamaran in, say, Florida, and I want to sail to the Bahamas. I've never sailed before. What qualifications do I need for you to recognise that and insure me? And they will tell you, and then you go and get the qualifications. And it may be that you will need a certain number of sea miles. So the chicken and egg thing is easy to do, but you've got to put some groundwork in. It's not particularly difficult to kind of, and this is what we did. You know, as I said to a lot of people, especially before you own a boat. Say, for instance, you say, I'm going to own a boat in 5 years' time, or 2 years' time, or 1 year's time, and I want to go and get some sailing done. Firstly, buy yourself a logbook. A logbook on the internet probably costs $10 on Amazon, just a ship's logbook, and make that your personal logbook so that you can keep a record of all the sailing that you've done and all the hours that you've done. Then go and find some way to sail. Now, these can be different ways. One level, you can just go down to your local yacht club and just get involved. I absolutely promise you, I've never been to a yacht club that did not welcome people, because it's such a diminishing spirit and it is so welcoming. And we've been 3 continents now, 4 continents. Yeah, 3 continents we've sailed. Everyone from the back end of like Morocco, just going to these tiny little fishing ports in Morocco. You know, everyone helps you, and so finding crewing places on a boat is easy. So what you can do is, if this were, and as I said, I can't attest to the ASA, but I can tell you what the RYA do, so the Royal Yachting Association. Their levels going from the ground up is, I think it's there's one underneath competent crew, isn't there?
I don't know.
Okay, so basically, competent crew is, for us, a 5-day course, I think. Is it a 5-day course or 2-day course?
I never did it.
It's a couple of days of practical course, which basically show you how to be on a boat and not be a danger, how to tie basic knots, how to do some basic steering while under the kind of instruction of a captain. Now, from that competent crew, you are, as it says, competent enough to be crew. You can then go to a yacht club and say, look, I've got my competent crew. I kind of know what I'm doing. I just want to get some experience. If you are racing, if you've got a race coming up, can I crew for you? Go to the bar after the races and meet people. In our yacht club that we came from, it was very inclusive, and they had two levels of membership, one for people that's had boats and one for just like associate members. So you can go in there and you need to start rubbing shoulders with sailors. So that's the first thing. And then once you've got competent crew, you know, go on your races, go on the trips, go, because there's always people looking for crew. Because I can absolutely guarantee you, there's many men don't have willing partners when it comes to sailing. So they're always looking for crew. Our yacht club was like, God, I can't find crew. Can anyone crew for me? Can anyone crew for me? So it's easy to do. So that's the first thing. Another way of doing it is to charter. Just go and charter. If you don't have the experience, get a skipper charter. That costs a fair amount of money, but go to the BVIs, go and get a skipper charter and say, look, I want to co-skipper this. I want you to co-skipper me. So although you are the skipper, I want you to instruct me and I want you to sign my logbook afterwards. So basically, if you're on a skipper charter, you would expect to get, weather permitting, 4 to 6 hours of sailing done every day. So that's what? A week's charter, 6 days sailing, 6 times 6, 36 hours of sailing, all in your logbook. It's all experience, all experience. And from that, then you can go back to an insurance company and say, I've got this. So you've got to build on it, and it's not particularly difficult to do.
Yeah, as Tony points out, the Winds, Nick and Jason did go through this exact scenario. They went from not knowing how to sail at all to buying a catamaran and learning on their own boat. And they made a load of episodes about it. So that would be a good option for you to check out.
Yeah.
Jeez, they're really getting stuck into the collar today.
I know, I just felt a bit tired. Anyway, so yeah, that's a good way of doing it. But absolutely worthwhile. I do it. It's, put it this way, that you wouldn't let yourself into a tractor or a steamroller without some qualifications. So it does need to be done. Actually, not so much for your sake, but for everyone around you's sake.
Any other questions, lovely people, then please just type them on in. And by the way, while I think of it, if you're watching this on Patreon, then you need to actually click through to YouTube in order to post questions. I've had this before where you have been on Patreon, on the Patreon website, kind of writing questions, and we can't see them. So you have to click through to YouTube. So just in both posts, I pasted the link. So just click the link, and then you'll be with us.
Yep. So yeah, as I said, this for those who turned up on time, we were a little bit early. If you do have questions, the idea behind these Patreon sessions, because I think a lot of you come over to the general kind of shambles in the next hour. If you have this is kind of meant for more in-depth answers that we can put to you and say, look, it's more specific. So if you have questions, you think, actually, I just asked that. Just so feel free to just ask the questions, because if they dry up, we have nothing else to tell you. And then we have to leave and go somewhere else and just sit down. So,
Wade says, how are the Winds off camera? Well, we touched on this at the kind of beginning of this live chat, maybe before you came in, Wade. We were talking about our time with the Winds and what an absolute kind of highlight, possibly of our lives, not to overstate it.
When was the day I met you?
Oh, bless. Total lies. They are different off camera, actually. I mean, I was a fan of theirs for a long time, for probably a solid 2 to 3 years. Nick, I don't know if he had ever watched an episode of theirs before I made you. Did you ever watch an episode of theirs?
Yes.
What episode of theirs did
the
you
one
watch?
where they had a cat. I can't remember, babe. I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
Okay. So Nick was not like a devout fan, but I was like a proper fangirl. And yes, so to say that I was excited when they invited us to come and stay with them and sail their boat with them was, it's a bit of an understatement. But they, on camera, I think are extremely professional, and they have a very kind of polished image. And every now and again, every now and again, if you watch them for long enough, then you kind of get to know them. However, I feel like maybe if someone was watching them for the first time, they wouldn't get that kind of silly side to them straight away, because you only get glimpses every now and again. Because as I said, they are so professional. However, yes, in real life, they are just hysterical. And I do mean hysterical. Yeah, they are both so funny. They both had us in stitches. I mean, Jason is very funny, but Nikki was a real dark horse. I was not expecting her to be as hilarious as she is. And I watched obviously all the footage that we took. We took a lot of footage, and a lot of it I cannot put into the episodes, unfortunately, because it's just so kind of rude and inappropriate, even for our fairly low standards. But yeah, they're both very, very cool, down to earth, people, and they both are very, very intelligent. And when I say they're hardworking, I cannot overstate how hardworking they are. Their work ethic is kind of off the chart. So yeah, they make it look easy when you're watching them on screen, and then you kind of get a glimpse, as we did, of how things work behind the scenes. And yeah, the work ethic is insane. So
yeah, that they are. They're much funnier off screen than they are on screen. But that, as we said earlier, because we come from different. We approach this from different ways. They come from a professional, and we come from being in a pub. Tom O'Connor says, planning to sail the Med initially, would love to get a southerly build quality shallow draft aft cabin, budget constraints. Do we buy an older cabin southerly or a newer production boat?
That's a real question, Tom.
It's a doozy, my friend. It's a doozy. Hey, Christy, nice to see you, my love.
Christy.
Nice to see you.
And then he says, and look to upgrade in a few years when we want to go further.
To tell you the truth, Tom, I don't know what your budget is. And that's really where you start from. I would suggest that the problem that you've got is that when you sell your boat and when you are looking to, 10% of the value of the boat in sales. So you immediately lose that if you are then upgrading. So 10% is gone. That's what a broker will charge you. So factor that in when you make your decision. I personally would do exactly the same thing again. I'd buy this and I'd look for a used southerly. That's where I'd go with this. I think that's what you should do. However, it depends on your budget. I don't know what you're looking for. I'm not sure what size. I still think the 38 is better than the 42. It depends if you need that third cabin, but the third cabin is minute. So again, it really depends on what you're after. But my take on it would be, I think we're frozen.
Sometimes I can still hear us talking, even if the
yeah,
here we go, we're back anyway.
So yeah, my take would be to buy a southerly over a Hands. We used to have a Hands, and and the Elan was good. But we've had friends with the Elan, they had problems with the Elan. All boats have different problems. As you know, this is going to be on the market within the next year. So if this is something that interests you, just shoot us a PM. No biggie. May not be for you. But yeah, my take would be buy a used southerly. Only because the number of upgrades you will need to do is huge. It's also the big, do you buy a new boat or do you buy a used boat? So say for instance, we're not talking about Hands.
And actually we'll be in the same predicament probably.
Yeah. So basically, if we look to, us buying new versus used, I had this bee in my bonnet about buying new last time, so we bought this new. The amount of money we had to sink into this boat. No, sink is the wrong word. Put into this boat to get her to where we want. I think it's about 30% of what we actually paid for the boat. And the boat, we got the boat out of the factory with a really high spec, but there were just so many other things. Sails, parasailers, biminis, solar panels, wind generators.
The SSB.
The SSB, literally, I think, we put a crazy amount of money into this boat.
Like the hydrovane. I mean, like, the extras that we have on our boat are, like, ridiculous.
Someone actually said it's like you crashed into a Chandler and everything stuck to it. And it's about right. So basically, if you are budget constrained, I really would suggest look to someone that's done it all, got all the kit on the boat, and is then going to sell sell onwards.
But we have the same dilemma because, we're looking, as we were talking a little while ago, at buying a catamaran as our next boat. And in the not too distant future, really, we're not talking about in 10 years, we're talking about, like, soonish. And this is exactly our dilemma. Do we buy a new production catamaran or do we buy a used non-production catamaran? Because obviously, not obviously, but we cannot afford a brand new, say, Privilege or Antares or whatever. So it's a dilemma. We're in the same pickle. So
all I would say is that higher quality boats age better.
Yes, exactly.
They really do. We went into a Fontaine Pajot that was. Do you know what? It was still new. It hadn't even been handed over to the bloody owners, and it was shocking. The woodwork was in worse state than the woodwork is. I mean, obviously I sit and literally buff every aspect of the woodwork on this boat on an hourly basis. But it was the Fontaine Pajot Asteria at the Barcelona Boat Show. And literally, the boat is brand new. And I'm like, our woodwork's in better nick than this.
Yeah, it looked shabby.
I don't
So
know.
quality will always last.
So buy quality.
And unfortunately, and this is kind of our observation, but also anecdotally, I think that this is holding true, that the production boats that are coming out now are not being built as well as they were, say, 10 years ago. You know, for example, our hands that we had. What year did you buy that?
Okay, so there's 2000.
Like what, 8, 9?
7.
So Nick bought a 2007 hands from new, brand new, lovely little boat, hands 32 or something. And we actually thought, because we liked it so much, that we would get our hands as our next boat. We'd just get hands, whatever it was at the time, 38 or something. And we went to the Southampton Boat Show fully prepared to jump on board the new hands and hopefully sign up. And we just looked around and it was a completely different boat. The quality, even I was a total novice at the time, could tell that the quality was just really on a completely different standard. Which I think, and that's continued as a trend because these companies are trying to cut costs. A lot of them, their profit margin is really slim, so they're trying to cut costs as much as possible, and it shows, unfortunately.
So the backstory to this, because I come from our marina, there's a lot of people there that are kind of boat builders and far more knowledgeable than kind of, they're not just weekend captains, credit card captains, as people say. They know a lot about boats, and our hands dealer, he's a friend of mine. He's now a friend of ours, isn't he? And that was just an organic thing that evolved over the years. We didn't know him beforehand. So what happened was, when it comes to production boats or any boat building, there's not a lot of profit in it.
No.
It's not that there's a huge raft of profit in these things. The profit margins are small. So what happened was, in 2008, after the crash, people just stopped buying boats. Like the boat industry was in absolutely dire straits because essentially these are luxury items for most people. So there was a massive crash in the boat industry, especially in the production boat industry. Sorry, I
just feel like that
once again, I get into a flow and you're moving something.
The 2008 crash disturbed the boat buying.
So a lot of companies kind of went bust, and you see this in the marine news even nowadays. You find like things like Beneteau, not Beneteau, so like really big companies just go into receivership, and what happens is they get bought out by other companies, bigger companies. Venture capitalists is the expression. You know, people that buy up companies for no real kind of desire to own a boat company or a coffee company. They just want to make money out of it. Venture capitalists. So Hands went bust, and Southerly went bust, and Fairline went bust, Oyster went bust multiple times. Naiad went bust. They all go bust. I've heard rumours about Discovery being in trouble. That could be completely unfounded. It's just it was just a friend that told me. And so they are bought out, and the first thing that these people do, these venture capitalists do, is say, right, how do we make these boats? How do we get more profit? We make the boats cheaper. We've got to just strip the build costs down, which basically means they're built faster and they are built with cheaper components. So looking for us, we bought a Hands in 2007. Got to 2009, we looked at the new Hands. And I'm like, this is horrible. It's a horrible boat. What have you done? And our broker Phil said,
like even like for example, the number of hatches, opening hatches that it had were less because obviously that costs more than just like a window. So like little things like that you wouldn't think about really. You know, you kind of compare the two, and yeah, it's obvious.
So when you build something to a price point, you have the risk of people saying, well, we need to build it to a lower price point. And
Southerlies are
not built to price point.
Yeah, they're built first, and then they
work out the price.
That's right.
So basically, production yachts versus non-production yachts. One is not built to a price point. The risk of not building to a price point is that you go bust. If no one buys your videos, and Suddenly did, but Oyster did, you know, and loads of other things happen, and Naiad were huge, and you know, so there is a risk across the market. And you know, we met someone who had just bought a brand new lagoon in the Bahamas, and literally he was stripping everything out. He said, "I've got to replace all the blocks because they're too small, they're under spec." And I'm like, well, if your blocks are under spec, your fiberglass is going to be under spec, you know.
In fairness, though, we did go on to we'd been on a lot of lagoons, but just as kind of casual guests. And then we did go on to the Lagoon 42 on the
40.
Well, we went on to the 40,
Yeah.
the 42, and the 44 or 40 or something. 45, I can't remember. And at the Barcelona Boat Show last year, and I like actually inspecting it rather than just like sitting on board having a couple of beers and chatting with mates. And especially when it was lined up and parked literally next to the Fontaine Pajots, which were literally next to the Leopards, you know, you just get off one and get on the other, you can make a direct comparison. And I have to say that the Lagoon's quality was far, far better than the Fontaine Pajots, for sure.
Yep.
The Leopards, maybe about on par, but I didn't like the styling of the Leopards myself.
I didn't check the Leopard any more than I should. It literally was...
Well, we walked on board, we realised that aesthetically it didn't do it for us, and we walked off. The newer Lagoons, we actually quite like the aesthetics, especially inside. They've got like darker wood now, and they're kind of paying a bit more attention to, I think, like the aesthetics on the inside. So yeah, we did look a little bit deeper at the, at the quality overall, and from what we could see, and we were impressed, actually, to be fair.
So yeah, this is between you and I. I wouldn't buy a Fontaine Pajot for anything more than just pootling around coastally.
I don't even know if I'd do that.
They are...
I don't know why. Again, it's just between you guys and us. I don't know why you would buy Fontaine Pajot at all. Their competitors are better.
Hang on. They are the prettiest catamaran. I think they're the prettiest production catamaran.
Yeah.
They are pretty.
I know, but if you're buying a boat just because it's pretty,
no, you do. You buy a boat because of its lines. I think the prettiest catamarans, the prettiest catamarans that exist, I believe, Outremer they're pretty. They've got some nice lines, and Fontaine Pajot have got some nice lines.
Yeah, they do.
And so, but they are literally. I know I've banged on about this and put it on Facebook, and I didn't mention it because it's an open form. The steering mechanism, the way that the tie that is put together, the entire steering quadrant in those Fontaine Pajots. Literally, I could build better myself with the stuff in the skip outside in this boatyard. They are terribly, terribly built.
And even if you don't know any, like myself, even if like you're going in and you're just looking at a steering quadrant and being like, I don't even know what that does. You open it up, you realise, and then you compare it to, for example, the Lagoon next door, and even like without any knowledge of what that piece of equipment actually does or anything about it, you can tell just by looking at it that the Lagoon is far, far more highly spec'd than the Fontaine Pajot. Like, even the, like, what really fascinated me was, and again, this is an example of how you can go onto a boat and not necessarily be overly technical or know a lot about boat building and still be able to discern the quality. The galley in the Fontaine Pajot, all of them, there were 2 or 3 models there, the bench top, obviously they cut out like a hole for the sink. The cutout was a different shape to the sink. So they had literally just like cut a square in the bench top and then put like a slightly circular sink underneath, and it looked disgraceful.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was terrible. It was really poor, and I was quite actually, I don't know, I was really angry because, you know, it seemed so unnecessary.
Again, but everything, horses for courses, boats for floats, whatever. Look, so, yeah, there are a couple of things I just want to, before we move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Firstly, look at the build quality inside and out. Not just look at the pretty stuff. Go into the engine compartment, go into the engine bay. Even if you know nothing about engine bays, go and look at Lagoon versus Fontaine Pajot. And I'm not endorsing Lagoon. Don't think that this is we're going to buy Lagoon and therefore we have to kind of...
I'm going to put my hand up and say I quite liked the Lagoons.
They're well built. They're ugly as sin.
They're not... Well, they're pretty on the inside.
Like me. So that's the second. First thing. Second thing is find out the actual cost of the boat. Because you go to a boat show, it's nuts. Yeah. They're like, oh, the boat's 200,000. I'm like, oh, 200,000. How much is this boat? How much is this one you've got here? Oh, that's 400,000. I'm like, well, because you... And then, so really, they are really cheeky about this. So if you're looking at new boats, find out what the bloody cost is. Because we literally spec'd up, and again, I want to say something to counterbalance my, nice things I said about Lagoon. Looking at what Lagoon you need to put on a Lagoon to make it the Lagoon that you need to sail the bloody, to sail anywhere with, it's at least 30 to 50% the value of the boat. And then on top of that, you've got to pay local tax, which if you live in Europe is 20%. So we're looking at it like, 200,000 for this, but the actual bill is 450,000. That's one thing, look at that. So hence used boats.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
anyway, maybe
Christy, thank you very much. Yes, we really, and we've mentioned this a few times, we really did enjoy the time with Nikki and Jason. So, and we've still got, I think you've seen 4 episodes, we've still got 2 more in the pipeline.
Yes.
Patreon have seen 2.
Yes, and then
there's a Q&A.
There's a Q&A, and then Nikki and I filmed like a mini series talking about women on boats, and Nikki is going to publish the first part of that, and I'll publish the second part of that. They, I believe, are in the Tuamotus at the moment, so the last I heard from Nikki was, we're going to the Tuamotus on Tuesday, we've got a really good weather window, and I've not heard from her since. So I can only imagine, I'm hoping, that means that they're having a lovely time at anchor in the Tuamotus with no internet service.
I think they just posted, but it may have been scheduled.
Whatever.
Let me just see, we've got some more questions, because we need to wrap this up in about 15 minutes.
So Ellen says, it's so enjoyable to see how you both work together and have passion to sail and travel. Don't want this to sound odd, but how do you find like-minded partners to live this life with? That's a very deep question.
It is deep. I was just luckier than I've ever been with
you. Go to India and you go on like a cheap tour where you stay in cheap hotels, and then you find the real fun people. That's how we found each other.
Well, because, we're travellers. All I would say to you is, and this is without sounding like overly mercenary, like when we met.
What?
Well, no, you've been open about this. Literally, I turned around and said to you, I sail a boat.
Yeah, it's true, actually, because we met, obviously, we decided that we quite liked each other. And
give it a whirl.
And, when we only spent 2 weeks together because we were both on like a tour on holiday, and then we said goodbye. So 2 weeks is obviously long enough to decide that you really like each other, but not long enough to kind of form any deep, lasting commitment.
Speak for yourself.
And so when we left, we had to decide whether we were going to obviously try and be together, or it was going to just be a happy memory. And when Nick lived in London, I lived in Australia, so it was a huge decision. We didn't both come from the same town, and Nick said, look, I've got my business, I've got a house that I paid the mortgage on. I can't just up and leave and move to Australia. So it was up to me to make the big move. But before I did that, Nick made it very clear. He said, to be honest, during the summer, I sail every weekend. And so, why are you looking at me like that?
I love you.
And this is the secret. No, he said, I sail every weekend. So if you're not interested in sailing, then, he didn't go so far as to say, don't bother. That was pretty much the subtext. So, yeah, the message was loud and clear that if I wanted to be with Nick, then I had to sail the boat.
There was a lot of luck in it, though, because I've got loads of friends that have got partners that are like, they're not interested.
But we met like on a fairly adventurous tour of like northern India and Nepal. So we already had like that adventurous streak that we shared, and there is a lot of luck.
There's a lot of luck.
Yeah.
Wade says, I'm thinking of getting a used island packet. I know it's not pretty. Your thoughts? I actually think island packets are pretty. I think they are. I'm
not sure about the biscuit colour.
No, that's my thing. I don't like the biscuit. I think the biscuit it makes it look old.
Yeah.
But you can get them in white and you can get them in blue, as in hulls.
Yeah.
And you can get the top sides in white.
Yeah.
So I actually think that there's a lot of features on island packets that I think are absolutely really, really nice.
Yeah.
I think they've got, they have semi-long keels. They've got skeg rudders. And they're big, heavy boats, but they've got loads of. It's like they sail really well.
They're very popular.
Yeah, but they do have an image of being a little bit old people stuff.
Yeah, they do.
But things like a lot of them have jib booms, which I think is amazing. Like jib boom, why don't all boats have jib booms? They're bloody amazing things to have. They're not easy to get in and out of if you anchor a lot, because just the way that they are, they're a bit like rustlers. Really kind of like almost canoe sterns. What about the ones we saw? But yeah, I like island packets, and they are well built. So yeah, I wouldn't say anything about an island packet. It's just I don't like the biscuit colour. And we went because the thing about island packets, it's the same as any non-production boat, in that they're semi-custom builds. So it literally is the whim of whoever is designing the boat.
Well, buying the boat.
And literally, I've been on to a couple of... normally at boat shows. You go on and it's like, bloody hell, this is like a floating retirement home. Literally, it's all chintz and stained glass windows in drinks cabinets. I'm like, bloody hell.
Yeah.
And that's just, you know...
That's just their taste.
Because in 30 years' time, now I'll be going up and, oh, that's a nice little bit of chintz. I'll get that stuck on the boat. So, and again, there is... It is very, very subjective. So, yeah, if you buy a production boat, you get the wood comes in. The wood comes in this, and you get 3 choices of fabric.
Oh, if you're lucky.
Well, you know, whereas you get as I said, a non-production boat, you can just about specify everything, with the exception of the bulkheads, because the hull is normally set in. The hull is set and the bulkheads are set, but you can turn it. I mean, when we had this, literally almost everything was changeable. You're like, you can A, B, C, D, and E, all at a price as well. So yes, with buying a used non-production boat, you have to be aware that sometimes you're like, good idea, was it? Wasn't it a good idea? But yeah, Island Pakistan, all that. There you go. So someone says, to your point on any boat, you have to consider the spaces you have to work in, engine room bilge. Better boats tend to take that into consideration. Yes and no. This boat, the engine room space is shocking, but the engine's very, very small. It's literally, the engine is, it's probably 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. So, and because newer engines do have a much smaller footprint. But yes, this is well thought. There's so many things on this boat that I think, okay, that was well thought out. Oh, you can see why they've done that, and you can see why they've done that. And, you know, as we mentioned probably half an hour ago, this boat is not built to a price point. Literally, they built the boat that they wanted people to buy and said, well, this is what it costs. So, you know, think of it like you want to buy a hamburger, right? You can go to the McDonald's and you know that the hamburger is going to be 79 cents or 79 pence or whatever, and it's a hamburger. You can also go to some other mad-ass place where you want to spend $30 on a hamburger. It's still a hamburger, but they're like, well, you want a hamburger, you pay what we want you to charge. Whereas at McDonald's is to a price point. And yeah, you get, the analogies are endless. Craft beer versus bush beer. Thank you very much before anyone else gets in there. So yeah, so that's
Can I just point out that the reason why Nick said, oh, and somebody just said it's because you can't pronounce that particular lovely user who...
My Lady Quinfei.
It's Shinfei, isn't it?
Shinfei.
We've been through this. My Lady Shinfei.
Shinfei, okay.
Yeah.
Because someone, can My Lady Shinfei say if I am Shinfei? It's correct. So Alan Davis says, are you back in the water north of Valencia? Yes, we are. We're back in the water tomorrow. Tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, we are dropped into the water. If all our systems are up and running, tomorrow we will head back to Valencia Marina, and we've got probably a couple of 3 weeks of work to do. We want to set off early. We are waiting on our sails.
Yes, I got it right.
We're waiting on some new sails, but we can't get hold of our sailmaker. He's gone very, very quiet, which is ominous. I haven't heard from him. I've sent him 3 emails, so we might have to go with our old sails if he doesn't sort himself out. So yeah, we're just waiting, and then we're going to just carry on. We still don't know what we're doing. We still have not. We are very, very, very probably, I would say 90%.
I don't know what you're about to say.
Well, our plan for the season.
Yes.
I think we're going to head up the coast towards France, and then...
Did you do the aquarium in Valencia?
No, still no.
It's very expensive.
Well,
it's like €30.
What? Stick your bloody head in the sea.
Your dad went, but he got like a...
He got an old person's discount.
Yeah, or like a student discount or something.
Some mad shit. Anyway, so...
Oh, and Tony says, is the merchandise store almost back up? Aurelia assures us that by the 15th of March, which was the deadline that we gave her, that it will be up and running, but we're cautiously optimistic that by the 15th of March that will be the case.
Yeah.
We're hoping.
So,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so basically with the merchandise store, we shut it down deliberately 8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Only because we knew we were updating the logo, and we didn't want to put anyone in a position where they bought a T-shirt and they're like, hang on a minute,
the old logo.
This shit this last week and now you got a new logo.
Yeah.
We just wanted to, and I like the vintage look as well, the vintage classic. So yeah, So we're updating the store. We've updated the logo, as you may have seen.
And we've got some cool new stuff.
Yeah, some nice new stuff, and we've built a better store. It looks nice, I think. Yeah. The old one was a bit like.
So we did give her really a lot of work to do in a fairly short space of time, and we're not obviously her only clients. So yeah, she's working really hard. So yeah, we're gonna keep obviously you up to date on that. But I'm hoping that within the next fortnight we'll have it up and running.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get that sorted out. So that's good. So I think we've run out of time.
We need to get going on. Will you release a shirt with the 4 aces on it? No.
What 4 aces?
I think the cards. Yeah, our card logo with the lady on the end.
We did that. We had it. No one bought the bloody thing. I think we sold about 3 of them. Because the t-shirt lady is like, we used to do, she's like, no one's bought this t-shirt.
Yeah. The bomber girl. Yeah.
No one bought. We had it. It was the cards had Ruby Rose on. Never say never. Look, we put out this.
Might bring it back.
We put this limited edition T-shirt out, and loads of people bought it. So I think we may do a limited edition run, once a year, because literally I run out of clothes to wear. So I'm like, really, can you design something different for me to wear? So yeah, we'll if there's enough demand for it. Literally, it's driven by you actually, not you personally, but everyone. If they're like, oh, can we get this? We'll see how it goes. But yeah, this one got quite a lot of people wanted this one. I just wanted a black T-shirt, so we got this one done. So yeah, so that yes, we will give you let you know in good time.
Yes, but we have to dash.
We do have to dash.
We're doing our public live chat in 15 minutes. So you are all more than welcome to join us over there.
Slightly less refined, obviously.
Yeah, the questions come thick and fast. And sometimes, and yes, Tom, yes, just quickly, the issues ordering from overseas, we have brought that up with Aurelia, and she's come up with what she says are some solutions. But before we go live, I'm going to be double, triple checking.
Yeah, she's going to be
all of that, because we got so many emails, and it was really disappointing that didn't work very well. So I sincerely apologise for that, and I'm very much hoping that Aurelia has got all that sorted. Okay, so anyway.
So Greg's just turned up. Hello, Greg.
Oh,
sorry,
Greg.
Yes, it's always left up. And so yes, we will leave it up for you to watch. And we're doing the other live in a minute. We're doing the regular live.
Right.
And there was a question we missed. Are we going to Annapolis? Yes, we are. We're going to go to Annapolis. 100%. And we're going to do a patron-only event.
Yes, so if you guys are going to Annapolis, then we will definitely do something just with our patrons. For sure. We don't know what yet. If you've got any ideas, if you know Annapolis and you know a venue, then please, please, please email me, because I need all the help I can get. So yeah. But,
we are as committed as we can to going to the Annapolis Boat Show this year, just to catch up with everyone.
Yeah.
So yes,
and to do our boat research.
So yes, we will see you in Annapolis.
Yeah.
Patron meetups. It's going to be something where we can just get to meet you all, because really, I did one at Miami last year, and made just a mistake of sitting down. It was a sit-down event, which really meant that we couldn't mingle. So yeah, we'll do something away from the crowds, in a bar, in a restaurant where
not a restaurant. We're not going to sit down. It'll be in a bar where we can stand and have
have a really nice evening. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think that we're going to So you keep your yacht there. Yes, if you know of any venue which could be conducive to...
I think Lady Shinface just invited us all over to...
How about on board your boat? No.
All right, well, listen, that's fantastic. Again, lovely to see you all.
Yes.
We may see some of you in the next event.
Yes.
And happy season 4.
Yes. All right.
Thanks
for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it. Bye.